Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday, except it's not warm at all. It was warm yesterday, I assure you, but yeah, not so much today. But it's kind of alternating. I think the big storm has passed, but yeah, who knows. The big storm I'm worried about now is the big brainstorm, quite frankly. I've had quite an interesting week in terms of what's been being produced, because obviously this has been reading week. Well, yes, so reading week, if people don't know, is kind of what the university would call its not timetable time, directed study, whatever I want to call it. What anyone else would say is half term, but you're supposed to still be working, and honestly, I have been quite a lot. In fact, actually, I received a call, I think, like, on Saturday, or maybe it was Sunday, actually, from my mum, saying that she was going to pick up my brother, and we were going to, because his plan was to head back home, and she wanted to know if I was going to head back home as well. No. Under normal circumstances, yes, but to be perfectly honest, well, yeah, this time I can't really go away, because A, some people thought it was reading week last week, so they didn't show up to some of the other rehearsals, and B, this is the one chance that I actually have to get people to, attend rehearsals and not have to scrounge around for random moments where two people that happen to have a free schedule coincide, and then everyone comes together on Friday. It was even recommended to us by a tutor, because we finally... Oh, hold on a second. I forgot to put the light on. Ah, that's too bright. That's the best I can do, apparently. Yeah, because we finally actually had a tutor come in and watch our show. A mere 6 weeks into the process. About halfway through. And that tutor recommended that we should have more rehearsals. Thank you! I never would have thought to do that myself. Ever. Definitely haven't been trying at all. In fact, I explained that. But you know that thing that tutors do where they've been told a point, and then they keep having to, like, reiterate and try and insist the same thing even when you've already told them it's not possible? Yeah, that thing happened. So yeah, she was saying stuff like, "Oh well, I just don't think you have enough time to actually rehearse like a full show like this in this time if you're doing just once a week." And to which I said, "Well, yeah, I agree with you, but there's not much I can do about that because everyone's got work and such." "Oh well, yes, but if you could find some other rehearsals, like, yes, I've tried." It's kind of like there's a scene in this program called Yes Minister that's kind of like that. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the minister, who under normal circumstances has everything go through this one advisor guy who constantly opposes what he does, so nothing ever gets done. But this one time he actually goes ahead and does all the checking without telling this one guy. So then by the time that he comes back, he says, "Well, Minister, I must insist, I need to check this. This can't be possible." It's like, "Oh, no, it's all fine. I've checked it. It all works." I mean, it's kind of like the opposite, because it was her insisting I should do something, but yeah. in the series, obviously, the guy gets gets very, very worked up about it. But yeah, I just kind of thought to myself, yeah, this is definitely what Hacker must have felt like. Hacker's the minister. Oh, it was yes, Prime Minister. Sorry, yeah, by that point it was yes, Prime Minister, because it was the sequel series. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. So, weirdly enough, I can actually have faith that people will get that, considering who watches Walking Wednesday. Including my family, actually, to which I say, "Hello, family. Again, sorry I haven't been in contact. Yeah, honestly, if you think this week is going to be any easier on me than usual, not really. I've kind of tried to put any points where I would normally be in lessons and such, or anyone else would be in lessons, and just like make them the rehearsal times. Even then, people still don't tell me when they're available sometimes, so it takes me a while to come up with it. And then, of course, they will ask me, oh, well, when is, have you booked the rehearsals yet? I was like, well, no, of course not. What do you expect? But I don't know. It depends. But yeah, as for that tutor, actually, that tutor was mainly there to assess like how the piece was coming together, rather than try to insist on a rehearsal schedule that everyone kind of knew would benefit us anyway. And in that regard, she did mostly all right. I think some parts she kind of like missed the point, sort of, like how, for example, there's one song that we have at the beginning that's all about that where she says, oh well, we need to make sure that reiterate the point that sirens are dangerous to people, to which I say the song is called Beware of the Sirens. So yeah, that changed once I talked about it with the group. That got outvoted. It wasn't even just me thinking that. That song also has no repetition in it, so there's like no chorus or anything. It's the one song in the whole piece that doesn't have a chorus right now. But yeah, which I don't mind so much, because again, people actually do get it, and it's not like, oh yeah, people are gonna have a hard time with the lyrics. People watch Hamilton and they have a hard time with the lyrics at first, and then they go ahead and, if they want to, they find out more about it, and they look up the soundtrack. Or, in the case of Hamilton, actually, it's more likely they'll have already heard the soundtrack a million times by the time they get a chance to go and see that piece. I don't even know if it's still on, quite frankly. I'm sure it's been sold out since the beginning of time. But yeah. Again, that's not just me. The people in the group thought the same thing. I don't think you have to get 100% of everything that you hear in a song the first time you hear it, because part of the thing about songs is that you hear them over and over again. And yes, I do intend to publish the soundtrack eventually. Obviously once I work out licenses and stuff. But of course, it's meant to be a gacha show, which again, the tutor doesn't know, but it's meant to be a gacha show, so you'll hear the songs anyway. People have all the time in the world to hear them, But yeah, there was some other stuff as well that actually did help me out, like certain scenes that could be trimmed down because I didn't have any extras anymore, so there's some parts that are being like held back. Certain plot points that I tried to carry over without the background for it, making Argus a bit more mysterious, because because he was supposed to have a backstory, but the backstory was tied to the character that got cut from the piece. So, kind of doesn't really work anymore. So yeah, that got cut and he actually becomes a much more like mysterious character. I'm sorry, is that the lights, the pedestrian lights are red, but also the traffic lights. What am I supposed to do here? Okay, now they go. Alright, fine. I'll wait, I suppose. I'll wait this way so the microphone doesn't catch that much wind. Good lord. Okay. So, yeah. I did wonder, and over the weekend I worked on that, and we've been going through a couple of changes and some more songs, and we finally got to Act 2 today. So it is slowly coming together, despite the fact that even though it's reading week, people still aren't available for all the rehearsals. So even though I've had everyone, they haven't all been together at the same time yet. And chances are that's not going to happen for some time, which is a shame, because I need, the main character tested positive for COVID recently, which, by the way, I found the new regulation is that if you is that if you get two negatives 2 days in a row, you're able to go in, or if you've like been, or if like you haven't tested positive at all, then you get one negative, you can still go in. So that's what we all did basically. Um, but yeah, I have no idea. Okay, I have no idea why they've changed it. I mean to say, I'll try. Okay. If only they knew. Right. Point is, with all of that, it could have gone better, but it's been going fine so far anyway. And we are making progress. I just need a moment where I can actually go back and write the scenes, because I end up, being so tired all the time that I just end up collapsing. I actually ended up writing a song during the break of rehearsals, which was pretty useful because, again, that was the scene in Act 2 that we got to, and that's the opening. So now we have an opening for Act 2, and we also have choreography. So honestly, we're doing really, really well, all things considered. I think we're really starting to like pick up again, and we've done some character work too, get people, more up to speed and everything. We still have my lousy directing, but then again, I'm a facilitator, I'm not a miracle worker, So that's on me. But yeah, everyone seems to be really giving their A game once they're here. It's not like last time where I kind of felt like people's hearts weren't in it for those obvious reasons. And it's worth pointing out that that tutor I was talking about, the one who came to see everything, is not the same tutor I've been complaining about before. The one that's the one that, in the directorials, there were forced constant rewrites all the time, and made it so we're not even able to, people weren't even able to learn the script in time, and made blocking everything basically a nightmare. But yeah, I think it's I know, maybe it's also because I established from getting that. Oh yeah, actually, what's working? One other thing, we have all our characters now. I forgot to mention that. That was this week too. Not only do we have Talia, but we also have an understudy who has been helping out, fulfilling out all the roles that people that were absent, as there's more than one, which case, whichever one is more relevant to the scene. But so yeah, we have two amazing first year contributors as well, and I could not be happier about that, honestly. They're both doing amazingly. And one has a song now. So yeah, honestly, yeah, I'm very, very happy once again. It's oh, I forgot what I was going to say now. I was going to say something else about choreography, maybe, not necessarily. Oh yeah, it's taking shape as from a music perspective. I'm noticing now actually that a lot of the stuff that was story based has like kind of been removed, and now most of the parts of the musical are in fact the musical pieces. So yeah, obviously you just said a few more. Oh wait, no, yeah, don't business with blood. That was the other thing before. Yeah, those two first years, they said to me that a lot of the other pieces, because they've actually been working around with others, because first years have a bit of contact with the third year performances and everything, for different reasons. Some are stagehands, sometimes they're budget managers. It all depends. But yeah, but yeah, apparently, according to them, they actually observed that a lot of the other pieces were pretty edgy in their own words, which honestly I kind of grew to expect in some aspects, because it's because I think a lot of people actually are using like their powers of theatre right now, and everyone has like the theatre movement and everything to ignite some sort of social change, which again is great. but everyone is doing that right now, and they're all going about it throughout the most uh, the most heavy hitting traumatic versions they possibly can. So we even had to, one of the technicians actually asked us to put some trigger warnings depending on what we have in there. And I said, oh, my trigger warnings, I don't know, mild violence, because at one point they fight sirens, which has changed since then, because actually the sirens, thanks to the tutor I mentioned before, are now going to mostly consist of lights. So they're going to be fighting lights. I think we're going to be okay as far as mild violence goes. But yeah, for me actually, nothing wrong with a bit of social commentary, social change or whatever, but sometimes you need something fun, you know? I got into theatre under the idea of acting in and making fun stuff. You know, it was a pastime I started as a kid, and I wanted to carry on. I remember when I started, when I was entering my teens, actually, that's because that was the age when it starts to be okay to, you know, for people actors to handle all these more complicated things. You know, plays with much more suffering and everything. It was okay at first, but then after a while, I thought, there's not really too much anymore. There's just you know, you can enjoy it. That's partly why I love So Youth Theatre so much, because considering that we've had mostly plays that were all ages for some time, we never end up going too heavy. What we were saying, we had social commentary. Don't get me wrong. We had addressing the situations of the world and everything, but it was just more disguised. It wasn't always taking focus. Sometimes you just want to have entertaining characters at that moment, and then have the stuff that you think about them subconsciously. Which I've realized more and more is how I approach story writing as well. Because yeah, I've been talking to Monet quite a lot about stories, and how we have vastly different approaches for several different reasons. I view it as a family thing with Aiden and her in its entirety. Well, so far anyway, this entirety release-wise. Because she wanted our help scripting. But I know there's not much else. But I mean, there was a lot to say there. But as far as our different approaches go, it's interesting, like how we handle relatability towards characters, how we handle people actually sympathizing for them or not, different elements of drama, and then eventually, she and I talked about prose actually, and I came to an epiphany just today actually about what she was saying in terms of me just like 5 paragraphs in, seeming to write in my own narrative voice rather than that of the first person character in question. That, by the way, was when I said that in last stream, when Average Academy could actually be a work of prose as well. And who would be interested in reading that, and Maya absolutely agreeing. So I got to work pretty much instantly on that. Well, not really instantly. It was after a pause in date night, and also because it was very nice 4th anniversary, sort of, because again 29th, so not really this month. 4-month anniversary, or men's anniversary, or whatever you would call it. But yeah, it was like in between that and it was after editing my review, which I've now finished and will be up in tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow. It'll be up in the tomorrow, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of thought, well, why is that it seems that I haven't quite nailed that? You know, after 9 years of writing, why is it that that's immediately an issue? That's such a beginner thing. You said it was a beginner thing. And I realized, well, A, I don't write usually in first person, and if I do, it's usually in Spanish, and I have a different writing voice, or different writing voices in Spanish than I do in English. And B, because when I actually do have main characters, I tend to make it so that they have my same reactions to stuff, so I can convey what I want in the story. That's how I subtly portray whatever, you know, commentary I might be doing, whatever situations I might be reacting to, whatever stuff I base on other people my reactions to those people. The characters aren't me, don't get me wrong. They still do stuff that I would never do, and I would never do stuff that they would never do. You know, that's of course how that always works. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I insert myself into every single main character. No, definitely not. Every author has a lot of them, inserts themselves into their characters, especially the leads. But I think I've been doing that to a much more exaggerate degree. I've now realized that doing multiple perspectives of stuff might actually help. So who knows? Alphabet Academy might offer different perspectives from other characters that aren't just Erica, because now that this show's not called Alphabet Senpai, actually, it leaves me some room to try and like say, oh yeah, this is another person who attends the academy, you know, have somebody else take the spotlight for a bit, who's obviously not as based on me. But yeah, I think sometimes it takes me a couple of episodes, because the pros are based on the episodes. It takes me a couple of episodes sometimes to figure out where I'm going with a series. Like the Mutant Girl to an extent. I knew the basics of what the characters were doing, but because I've said before, if you want to make something, just release it and then get your feedback afterwards, and then keep improving it. You know, just maybe for several years. Then you just then I just go ahead and I continue it and it makes it into what it is today. So I think that might be the same thing. Looking at my history, that might be why I end up doing those things. If I showed it to more people before release time, that might actually negate what I was saying, or if I worked on more chapters beforehand, I could then go back and rectify certain things. Which I may do, actually. I don't even suggest that idea. Who knows? That could be something. Then again, Moni's been going through some of my old books too, which are finished, and I can actually make it something else. So you know what? I think I've got quite a lot to actually think about. And also I need to get back to stream right now because I forgot to even work on Wednesday before, that's why it's so dark. And, you know, I need to clear my brain of everything, not just Siren Story, not just Alphabet Academy, and not just the stuff that I'm trying to write, despite everything else going on in my life. So, I'm going to go ahead and turn around soon, so please leave a like, or just because your opinion matters, and subscribe if not so already, and on that note, until next time, farewell.